Running the high flow power steering pump that has its own reservoir that sits on top of the motor up here. We're going to take this apart, sandblast it, and then paint it flat black so it matches the core of the motor. And then for our adjustable wastegate, we have all the pieces disassembled and they've been painted, so once that gets back, we'll put it together.
So we got the turbo mounted, mounted up good and everything. Got adjusted the wastegate spring for the lowest setting, so we'll be able to turn it up from there. Right now I'm just putting on the crossover tube for the intake, and we got our bleed off bolt here for the boost gauge. So this is gonna go down here and replace one of the bolts. And what we had to do is drill a hole in this plenum so that all the pressure that's inside this whole assembly here going to the cylinders will have pressure on it, and that's what you're reading from the turbo at boost.
What is that?
It's my dentist suction tube.
We'll try it.
Oh, whoa, don't clog up the vacuum there. You want to make sure this doesn't end up where it's not supposed to be. See, look at that. Something right on out.
Powder coat?
Yeah, when it got sandblasted, some of the threads got rolled over a little bit. Open your mouth. I'm a dentist. What's that?
Alright, so we're putting in a coolant restriction valve because it has a crossover tube, and what this is going to do is, instead of keeping, there's so much flow in here, the water will actually stay in the engine. This is going to make it go into the radiator, and I'll keep that engine cooler. Also, it's going to Texas, so we're going to run 50-50 instead of 100% antifreeze, and that'll help. We've got a 180-degree thermostat in there, and while he's doing that, I'm hooking up the manifold pieces so that we can have the exhaust gases go through the turbo, spin it up, and then pump boost into the intake. And Jake's super impressed at how I just said that.
You gotta stick your tongue out.
Gonna put the glow plugs in. So if you're gonna be removing them, usually they're gonna be stuck in there, or they're gonna be swelled if it's an original motor. You're gonna use a tool like this, and what it does is it sits in place, and then as you tighten, it's gonna push against the head and pull it out evenly so you don't snap it, because trust me, when you snap these in place, it sucks. What we're going to do right now is we're going to put some anti-seize on it, and then we're going to hand thread them in. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Just a little dab will do you. And we're going to go right in there. Do that for all 8 cylinders. And then once we finish this, we should be putting the EGR valve on. We have a new one. This is the old one. On all the piping for the turbo setup. And then we're going to put the T-case on, and we're going to lift it up and put it inside of the chassis. So because we're running a 4L80 and a 242 T-case, the existing drive shafts that come with a TH400 truck are not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to get Procar drive shafts out of Pompano to modify them. We've got the measurements. They're going to strengthen them as well. And right now Jake is setting up to pull this piece off so that we can get the,
Yeah, we're going to get this piece is an inch short, so we're going to get the same thing made but an inch longer here.
Yeah.
And then this one as compared to the old truck, is also 2 inches longer. So there is a difference there. So
just little things before we get into chassis to make life easier. And then, whoop!
Just this guy.
Oh my God.
Oh, what am I doing?
This is a guy running over there to get the pieces made.
I make something happen around here.
Oh yeah.
that's the way to start the day.
What happened?
It's got some stuff in there. Can you believe that?
Oh man, thank God it didn't go in your pants. That's why I said don't move.
Yeah, amazing. See? Is that considered good luck or bad luck?
That's good luck. It's not on your pants.
So today we have Josh over here, sponsored skater by Bullet Motorsports, just scrubbing down all the old junk that needs to be cleaned. It's a good job for someone like me. I like what I do.
I like how it just sprayed in your eyes.
It's
Be careful, you're getting it everywhere. Look at this.
Yeah, man, I should keep the parts cleaner where the parts cleaner goes, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
This is a transferal case.
Oh, it's going on nice.
Yeah, it goes right on like that. It shifts through all the gears, or all the ranges, transfer case. That's the big one. You can run your house off of that thing.
I know it.
Well, if you use a converter. Yes. It's in.
Jake, you hooked up all the vent lines for the transmission.
Yeah.
You got the dipstick in there, a little bit of RTV and a seal.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it doesn't leak. I got it all set up so that way these mounts they're not exactly perfect when you first put a new tube on there. So I'm hooking it up now. That way it kind of conforms to where we want it to.
Looks good. We got the new cross member in for the 4L80.
Yeah.
And then we got our 242 transfer case.
Got the cooler lines all hooked up.
Yep.
Runs a nice loop. You got your where it runs out of the transmission to the cooler, and then it comes back through this line, runs to the transfer case, comes back around, gets cycled back to the cycled back through this one to the cooler.
There you go. I fixed it. All about the details.
Yeah, that's not necessary. It's just there for looks.
Yeah, it's just for looks.
What happened?
I did kind of have a mistake here. When I was hooking this up, I got a little upset and I didn't reach, so
Cut it.
with my teeth.
Oh, that's no big deal. You can just, just reattach them all together. You think it'll just work without that? You don't need that.
Yeah, do you think the owner will be all right with that?
I think so.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Trying to find the right drill bit so I can drill this bracket out a little bit more so this bolt will go in.
That's for the kickdown cable?
Yeah. The old style, they used a manual kickdown, and we have a digital kickdown now. So this will feed manually to the digital potentiometer, and then will feed into the transmission ECM.
What? Digital manual PCM. Alright, so this is for the boost gauge reading. It goes through to the intake manifold. So you use the existing bolts. It actually still holds this centerpiece in place. And then Jake fabbed up a custom bracket for the TPS sensor, the throttle position sensor, because obviously this doesn't have electronic setup. And what happens is this one, we set it up to read at 0.5 ohms, 0.4 ohms. And then when it goes full throttle, it should read like 4.6. You can see the cable moving.
Remember this?
And then this will run to the module itself. I'm taking the RPM off of the crank position sensor, which is down here. And then they also include in that system a module to hook up to this, and then it reads from that module to your ECM. We're going to get the speed off of the transmission, and we're modifying the actual speedo to be digital, so that's going to all work together in unison to make this thing shift great. The cool thing about this TCI module we're putting in is you have the adjustability for shift points and firmness, so you can set it up, and you can also set the RPMs and where it's going to shift. We're just going to do it to factory spec and allow the customer to be able to play with it. When you go wide open throttle, it'll shift at full pressure at all times, but it's a pretty neat setup. I can't wait to see it run.
It had some rust on it.
What do? You put your tongue in this thing and then you turn it on?
Yeah, that's how I do it. But you know.
9-1. Everybody in the world knows my social security number now. Hello, you are getting called by the IRS, and you need to, you don't want to go to jail, so you need to give me all of your information.
Oh man, I watched one last night. The guy, he was just so clueless. He didn't get anything right. He was like, you don't want to get arrested. Like, for what?
Yeah.
This is IRS. Or first he answered the phone IRA. He was like, what is this, Irish Republican Army or what?
So we just got the shafts in from Pro Shaft. They're out of Pompano Beach. They replicated a 480 shaft for us, and it's amazing. All new components. Jake is really happy.
Poor lady.
480. It spins as it should. It's going to go in there, and then it'll handle the torque. Torque life.
Oh, it's going to handle the torque. Hello.
Got this baffle right here that blocks everything. Look inside of it. This is what's going to... We're going to cut this out. We're going to cut it by the seam right here. And allow more airflow. It's still going to be fine. It's still going to get all the dust and everything out. And then, on this piece right here, we're going to take this assembly off, remove these 3 bolts, and cut right here as well. So we're going to have much more flow for that turb ski.